What is going on, everybody? My name is Tom Kelly. This is Clean Cut Audio, and this is probably the video you all have been waiting for. I know it's the one you have all been asking for. I'm just going to edit my show. That's it. You get to watch. It's going to hopefully be really fun and exciting and expand your horizons on things you can be doing to edit your show more efficiently and make it sound more natural. All right, let's do it. All right, so I'm in Pro Tools here. I've got all of my plugins that cause a lot of latency off, and I'm just going to start editing the show. I'm going to get my tracks as big as I can, make the master fader small because I like having my WLM meter on a second screen here to check the levels. This can be even a little bigger. And we're going to start editing. So you might hear a couple swear words, and I do apologize. I'm going to try to edit those out in post, but it's going to be just a raw recording. I'm going to go through in real time this 72-minute episode and cut it down as much as I can, but I'm going to start just right here and make sure that these files are synced up. We don't have a clap or anything. We try to hit record at the same time, and then I just do it visually. So I usually try to line up where it seems like would be a good I stop and he starts, and then I'm going to listen. Any record in the world, and I'm super excited to talk about it today.
Yes, as am I. High energy.
Right. So I laughed before the joke came, so I know that we can probably slide it out.
As am I. High energy material for some high energy podcasting. Through a brick wall, and it's going to be a fun game.
All right, so this is pretty good and synced. Let me start listening. Oh, I like to have pre-roll on because in Pro Tools, if you drag a clip, it'll only play that length of clip. So one of my biggest hacks that I found out recently, add post-roll, and it'll play 100 minutes beyond where the box is dragged out, so it'll never stop on you. And the second thing that I do is turn grouping on and off. So if I'm shuffle deleting and I need to delete this, it'll only delete the top track. You can drag it down to get both, but Command-Shift-G makes a group for all in it now. Whatever you select will select all the tracks. So I toggle Command-G on and off a lot. So those are the big things to look out for. And of course, are you ready to be visually manipulated? You know that I listen at a faster speed on my trackball over here. It is triggering Control 9 on the number pad, and let's get to it. Be digitally manipulated pad.
Whoa! You didn't even tell me you were going to do that. I am, and I'm excited. Let's do it.
All right. So we have an incredible record this week from. Okay, so I know that we have this cold open, the music is going to play here, so I want to create some space so I know where that is. I'm going to put it in shuffle mode, and I'm going to duplicate a bunch of silence to add some space here. Another thing you could do is drag how much time you want. Option 1, change this to insert time, and insert that time. It's more steps, so I like doing the duplicate the empty region thing. The thing to keep in mind is if you duplicate this, if you duplicate part of the track, it'll duplicate that track, and we don't want that. So the music's going to come in here, and this is where the actual episode starts. All right, so we have an incredible record this week from 2007. One of the greatest of all time, I would dare to say. It is an album that starts and finishes at 11 and maintains that the entire way through. I feel like it's an anomaly in any record in the world, and I'm super excited to talk about it today.
Yes, as am I. High energy material for some high energy podcasting. That's what I say. So let's keep it high energy. Also, I came up with a game to play as we work our way through. It's called Did This Song Make You Want to Run Through a Brick Wall? And
I forgot to solo my tracks. We don't want the music coming in, so I want to solo the audio only. And better than happy hardcore.
Okay.
Yes, as my high energy. Came up with a game to play as we work our way through. It's called Did This Sound Make You Want to Run Through a Brick Wall? And it's going to be a fun game. So there's a lot going on, and there's a lot to talk about. And
There's a lot going on, and there's a lot to talk about. And when did you first encounter this fine collection of insanely upbeat music?
I believe this is the same Sherpa introduced.
Beat music.
I believe this is the same Sherpa that introduced me to, what was it a few weeks ago? We were talking about Ryan, who I went to college with. I don't mind the because I'm thinking clearly, but I'm going to take out some of those mouth sounds. Ryan, who I went to college with. Oh, he introduced me to the Wonder Years, yeah. And I don't remember the day I first heard this. It just seemed like one day I didn't know the greatest thing in the world was out there, and then the next day everyone knew that the greatest thing in the world was there, and everyone was talking about it, everyone was listening to it, everyone was calling it happy hardcore at the time, and people were trying to, and so that down left key is what I use to quickly snap the region, this view here, to where the audio is, because I'm editing out the silence, and if an happens over here, I can snap right to it and then use T to zoom in right where the cursor was. So that's been a really helpful thing for me, although now I forget where I was at the time. And people...
I said, what? And I was like trying to like, are you kidding me? And it's funny because years later, one of my friends would talk about how happy hardcore is like the worst genre of music ever. I said, what? It doesn't sound angry, there's not that much screaming, it's just wrap their heads around like, the whole thing is one long breakdown, but it doesn't sound angry, there's not that much screaming, it's just hardcore music that's like happy sounding as hell. And it's funny because years later, one of my friends would talk about how happy hardcore is like the worst genre of music ever. I said, what? And I was like trying to like, are you kidding me? It turns out...
All right, so there's an F word. It's like, what? And I was like trying to like, are you fucking kidding me? Fucking kidding me? All right, so it's right here, audio suite, other, signal generator. It's already preloaded at the 1 kilohertz tone, render. Are you fucking kidding me? And we're seeing the playback a little bit lagged because I have to run this through my audio cap software, so it makes it a little bit harder to figure out where I am, but that's how I do my censor beeps.
It turns out there's like a genre of EDM or like electronic music from the 90s called happy hardcore, and it is actually terrible. But since then, I think the scene has gone on to rebrand this as easycore, which is even better than okay. And I think this
been better than happy hardcore.
Okay.
And I think this was like...
Are you suggesting that genre is dead, my dude?
So maybe we have a shirt that also implies such a notion, but...
That's my new rule in the show. I'm just going to reference our t-shirts while you do your journal, which has been most of the show anyway, so I don't think we're losing too much.
Reminiscentpodcast.com/shop. You can buy all our pop punk and emo t-shirts, but I think this album was the birth of easycore. Like, they invented a genre in a way that no one else had taken it to such extremes. Taken it to such extremes as one else had taken it to such extremes as Rise or Die Trying, which is what we're talking about, by the way. I don't know if we've even said the name yet, but yes, 4 Year Strong, Rise or Die Trying.
Hello?
Hey. You there?
Yep. I keep losing you. Same as last week. Is the mic thing the same, or is it on my end?
No, dude, it's right. All right, so we want to get rid of this, obviously. We haven't said the name yet, but yes, 4 Year Strong, Rise or Die Trying. All right, so I'm going to make just a big cut so I can see emptiness here and try to find where the episode comes back in. What did you do?
I've been going off Wi-Fi. I turned my cell data back on. That might do it, or help at least.
I just switched Wi-Fi networks, so maybe that will.
Okay,
that'll help.
Okay,
but
sorry.
Basically, I was saying they invented podcast magic. The audience will never know, and if you see any typing, I'm typing for show notes on the other screen. Stuff we talk about, I'm forming my links over here, so we want to keep track, so we don't have to listen twice.
Every day after 2007, Rise or Die Trying was trying to do what 4 Year Strong did, and I don't think anyone, I don't think 4 Year Strong past 2007 has done as good a job as they did on this record.
Strong did, and I don't even did, and I don't band after 2000, every band after this took it to an extreme that... All right, so let's glue these portions together here. I don't know if we've even said the name yet, but yes, 4 Year Strong, Rise or Die Trying. They took it to an extreme that no one else had at the time, and then every band after 2000, 4 Year Strong, Rise or Die Trying. They took it to an extreme that no one else had at the time, and then every band after... All right, so I don't want to delete my breath there, so I'm going to look for another breath somewhere. And I'm going to copy that and try to fit it into this portion here. Die Trying. They took it to an extreme that no one at the... There's also like a breathe out that I'm not a super fan of. I'm going to see if I can work around it, but I'm not going to commit to taking that out just yet. That's 4 Year Strong, Rise or Die Trying. Die Trying. Die Trying. They took it to an extreme... Die Trying. They took it... Die Trying. They took it to an... So now we just cut out this 1.5-minute conversation of us trying to hear each other over Skype, and the audience doesn't know the difference. Hide it with a breath so it doesn't sound like anything was even missing. They took it to...
Extreme that no one else had at the time.
Extreme that no... Took it to an extreme... Took it to an... I get plosives on my T's, so I'm going to go to Audio Suite, Noise Reduction, D-Plosive, and default settings are usually pretty good. Took it to an all right, and I still want my signal generator, so I'm going to have both of these just hanging out on the screen here. Don't want to cover anything, and let's do it.
Took it to an extreme that no one else had at the time, and then every band after 2007 Rise or Die Trying was trying to do what 4 Year Strong did, and I don't think 4 Year Strong past 2007 has done as good of a job as they did on
as good of a job as they did on the past 2000. Past 2000.
2007 has done as good of a job as they did on this record. I don't know, I guess I don't want to just come in and be like, you're wrong. I'm just going to show how many copycats there were.
Heard a mouth click.
Because of how unique it was. To me, nothing's... You're wrong. I'm just not sure how many copycats there were. Because of how unique it was. To me, nothing sounded quite like what this was.
Well, we had an eerie band called In the Day that was actually very
good. They got pretty good over time. It was some of our friends that we played shows with. Jessica Keller was the drummer, and Shane, I forgot what the other guys' names. Some of these that we know went to Edinburgh. There's more Shanes, several Shanes, I remember. And so they were doing, I feel like, well, okay, if I was talking to a random stranger, they would just been like, oh yeah, but...
Shanes, several Shanes, I remember.
All right, so I'm going to move this closer to where it's not interrupting me. That we know went to Edinburgh, and they were...
There's a few more Shanes, several Shanes, I remember. Right, I think this was birthed from a larger movement.
I'm going to just attenuate those mouth clicks. I'm going to run D-mouth click afterwards, but I want to fix this as soon as I can.
I think this was birthed from a larger movement than f***ing Rise or Die Trying.
Okay, well, I've got some real numbers here. It was really hard to find. So one thing that I do want to point out is these censored tones. I like when it's a hard edit. There's no crossfade. So as I'm making these cuts, I'm adding crossfades, but I want to make sure that any time there is a censored tone, I don't want to hit that with a crossfade. So when I hit that tone, that's when I throw all my crossfades that are required for the rest of the episode. Because when you add a crossfade, it's less impactful, and to me, it's less funny. So we can listen to this versus a crossfade.
Where units then f***ing riser
versus
units then f***ing riser.
Yeah, maybe it's about the same. Actually, now that I listen to it, but I usually leave them smash cut.
F***ing riser die trying.
One thing that I do want to mention, again, we can see how dynamic my co-host is as a speaker. So for portions like this, Vocal Rider can usually take care of it, but I'm going to use clip gain here to actually boost this a bit because I'm seeing, let's pull the WLM meter up again. Because we can hear it's getting a little soft. So I'm going to help it out. Clip gain in Pro Tools, it is anything that happens here happens before the plugin. So if we just let this stay at 0, it's going to hit Vocal Rider softer than it would if I were fixing it at the, I don't know if waveform level is the proper terminology, but it's going to help Vocal Writer not have to do as much work.
We're spending time out of our week having dinner with our wives to just talk for an hour about it. I'm not like saying I dislike it, but you're coming in so hot. I'm just asking you to like, just take a little, cool off a little bit. I don't know what the that sound effect was supposed to be, but
okay. Sophomore record. Did you know this?
Yeah, I guess.
Record. Did you know this?
Yeah, I guess.
What?
Yeah, I guess.
What?
I mean, there's usually, I was surprised to learn Good Charlotte had another record. So like, I'm obviously not like the most well-read thing. Like,
I knew that they had a couple EPs. I had no idea there was a full record called It's Our Time that came out in 2005.
Nor did I.
All right, so I have some mouth clicks and mouse clicks. So we've got mouth click, mouse click. Our signal is quiet enough to be able to drop it down to just a full silence, because once the denoise is doing that tiny bit of work, it's not going to be this in and out of noise floor just totally disappearing. So I'm pretty comfortable either totally eliminating it or bringing it down something like 30 decibels and having a slow fade into that and then a quick fade out. So, okay. They had been a band for 5 years before this album. They had been a band for 5 years before this album came out. And I think that's kind of cool. For 5 years before this album came out. And 5 years before this album came out. All right, so it was a little louder going into before that sounded natural, so I'm going to use clip gain to bring this down a tiny bit to try to match the amplitude of this clip and this one. For 5 years before this album came out, and it's not perfect. Years before this album, it sounds like I probably would have had a little bit of space in between this, so I'm going to use my option 1 trick to insert some time. It's going to push everything over to the right. Let's see if we can match this up better. For 5 years before this album came out. And I think that's kind of cool. Oh, this one's too fast. This album came out. And I think that's kind of cool because it sounds a little more natural. They had been a band for 5 years before this album came out. And I think that's kind of cool because, like, you know, with a lot of like manufactured bands, but also a lot of other bands that just like...
Are they a manufactured
seems like
band?
They showed up one day. It's like, oh man... They weren't here yesterday, and now they're... All right, so I didn't respond to him, so cut that.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, they weren't here yesterday, now they're famous. Like, it's cool to hear that, like, there were 5 years of probably very, very hard work. I think it was a full album, 2 EPs. I came out before this. The band met in high school. Those stories are always fun. This album charted number 31 on Billboard Heat Seekers in 2000.
A little bit of a weird mouth thing going on there. This album charted number 31 on Billboard. Charted number 31. Charted number 30. It's like a clicking. I'm not really sure what that is. Charted number 30. I think it's my cheeks. So D-mouth click should take care of that. Charted number... But I'll put a note to see what's going to happen after the mix here. Charted number 31 on Billboard Heat Seekers in 2007. Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I mean, well, okay.
I mean, we do most of our research off Wikipedia, which is like the...
So I'm going to speed this portion up, but I want to leave one track playing so that we don't get the noise coming in and out.
It does sound low.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
So what also something we can do here, since this is a double ender, undo all these edits. I can drag this portion over and then drag this over so that we're not interrupting each other. This was like their favorite album.
50,000 does sound low.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I mean, well, okay.
I mean, we do most of... Doesn't it?
I mean, well, okay.
I mean, we do most of our research off Wikipedia, which is like...
Well, okay.
I mean, we do most of our research off Wikipedia, which is like the knock against conversational dude podcasts. That seems low. So now what I did was I sped the pace up of this quite a bit. I moved his over so we're not interrupting each other, so you can clearly hear what I'm saying, clearly hear what he's saying. And the content isn't changed. It's just kind of rearranged, you know, a few seconds at a time to get something that sounds less distracting and
still pretty natural. So I'm pretty happy with that little portion right there.
Conversational dude podcasts.
I don't think that's time you're listening to
Could hear a little mouth stuff too. And again, I'm listening at, what is this, 235%, 230%. You get used to it over time because I'm not really listening specifically to every word that we're saying. I'm listening for swearing. I'm listening for stammers. I'm listening for mouth sounds.
I don't think that's time you're listening to the pop stuff on the radio. So this is all we had. We assumed that it was world famous or whatever. But in the first thing today, wait.
All right, so just that's not imperative to the conversation, so fade these into each other, let him start talking.
And it's interesting you say that they were together for 5 years because there's a lot going on in the record. I mean, of course it's energetic, of course it's fast-paced, but we were talking about watching YouTube videos of them playing live before we got done. It would take at least 5 years to get even close to the type of, rapport with your bandmates.
Rapport with your bandmates to be playing those sorts of arrangements live, right? I mean, 2 singers, 2 lead guitars was kind of the...
I usually lower my laughs quite a bit because they're pretty loud and really cut through the mix and masks whatever he's saying, so that's a pro tip right there. Fade him out long.
I mean, 2 singers, 2 lead guitars is kind of a joke. You made, that's a pretty rare lineup of features for a band to have. Kind of so aggressive, so quick, moving in and out of certain things. And so, you could say it was 12 years now, I believe, just because, there's a lot going on at all times. Yeah. Yeah, they never slow down for a second, and I think... On one hand, it could be easy to say, oh, this album's one-dimensional, or, they don't take any risks, it's all the same thing, but they do it super better than anyone has ever done.
All right, what did he say there?
Screw
Probably
that.
better than... All right, so it's kind of right over what I'm saying, so I'm going to isolate my portion and let him talk in the middle of that. So you get both without losing either of them. But they do it
Screw that.
probably better than anyone.
Anyone has ever done it, and every second of this record is just what it sounds like to me is every band member is flexing as hard as they can at all times, and usually it never comes together in a cohesive way, but something about the 5 members of this band, it just came together perfectly, and I don't think an album like this can ever be redone with as much energy, weirdly elegance, and just raw talent and excitement. I don't think it can ever be done again.
All right, that's a good quote too. So, blah, blah, blah. Somewhere in there is a quote.
I don't think it can ever be done again. Well, you mentioned people saying like it's one-dimensional,
People saying like it's one... People saying like it's one-dimensional, like... People don't go to Andrew
WK for nuance. Like, they don't listen to Andrew because they don't want to party.
They don't listen to...
I like this too, so I'm just going to probably take this whole section.
Like, they don't listen to Andrew because they don't want to party. You know what I mean? Like, but that doesn't mean we should be upset that it exists. Like, oh, he's only one-dimensional. It's like, yeah, man, that's the bit. That's the whole, that's his, like, that's what he's gifting the world is this. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you'd be upset by that. Like, oh, man.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you'd be upset. I don't know why you... I don't know. I don't know why you'd be upset by that. Like, oh man, all these songs are going to get me pumped up. Like every single one of them. Like it's an odd complaint to me, but
just
well, you had to
like,
you had to build the
unwavering.
building blocks had to be placed for things to
Wavering.
the building blocks had to be placed for things to come
Sure.
after.
All right, so I'm just going to delete the first portion of him talking because he repeated it, and it clears up some of this portion of overtalk. And like again, unwavering.
The building blocks had to be placed for things to come
Sure.
after. So there's an
Sure.
amount of respect that you got to lay down at the altar.
Also, for sure.
The fast-paced nature, but
really big sniffle in there. I can cut it because I'm laughing over it, so it'll kind of hide it. And actually what I can do is bring these closer together, which deletes my audio, and then just re-drag it out and reposition.
But the fast-paced nature...
It sounds totally natural because if I soloed my audio, it might be a little more apparent.
But the fast-paced...
So you can kind of hear that edit, but me laughing over it hides it.
But the fast-paced nature, I think, was one of the reasons.
And also this mouth click, since I'm still kind of breathing over it, it's going to hide this edit here.
Sure. I think was one of the reasons.
In the summer we came to see if we come to DC, when I wasn't in a car with Zach, coming to see you. Or I guess coming home from...
To see you, or I guess coming home from seeing you for that matter.
A lot of bands will do the opening...
intro song, but rarely do I want to hear it as the album...
The opening... The intro song. The intro song. Bands will do the intro song, but rarely do I want... I don't need that edit because it wasn't really taking out that much. It didn't sound as natural, so I'm just going to leave it because I'm not willing to sacrifice an edit and 1 second for something that doesn't sound natural.
Opening the intro song, but rarely do I want to hear it as the album loops back to the beginning. Yes. I think The Takeover, the intro for Rise and I Try, is a song that is good enough to stand on its own. It's not just introducing the record, it's also a very good song.
Oh my god.
It's the best game we've ever come up with.
My God. So this
It's the best game we've ever come up with.
Well, give yourself the credit, but all right, I think at some point they came out a little out of sync, so I'm going to push all of his audio to the right later in time. We'll see if that helped. Well, give yourself the credit, but all right. Well, no, not to say that it's not a good idea. I just I didn't come up with it.
It's the easiest game we've ever come up with. I can say that.
So this is like the first full... All right, so that's about everything that I'm going to get into. There's still quite a bit of time in this episode left. I'm going to pause the recording and come back for any important moments. Or maybe I'll do a time lapse. I don't know. Yeah, I'll do a time lapse. We'll keep this going. I'm going to pause the recording and stop and start a new one so that I don't lose anything, because I've had a series of crashes lately. So we're going to get back, we're going to time lapse and break in for any important moments of this episode. All right, that's it for this week. The show is edited. It's sounding good. Hopefully you learned a ton. I really think that, the more you edit, the more you learn, but it's also helpful to watch someone else's workflow and their style, because it could be totally different. And while you may not have loved everything that I did, hopefully there's one or two things that really inspire you to incorporate it into your workflow and work more efficiently, because as podcast editors, especially, time is money. We need to work as efficiently as possible without sacrificing quality. And I hope that you got that from this video. Next week, we're doing mixing, and I'm going to work through my signal chain, which I've done in the past, but it's been heavily updated. And I'm going to show that these two different voices, two different locations, two different sets of equipment, how they need to be treated differently in order to get something that sounds natural and cohesive. It can be a really elusive thing sometimes. So please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and that you ring the bell so that you never miss an episode. You know they come out every Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday. Podcast comes out on Thursday. So if you're not subscribed to that, cleancutaudio.com/podcast. Lots of really cool stuff over there as well. It's different information is presented differently, lots of listening exercises and philosophy stuff, but it's a great companion to this show, and you can learn even more, even different stuff over there. And if you really want to take it to the next level, patreon.com/cleancutaudio. It's my new membership platform where you can either just support the show, say thank you, this and that, or you can become a student and really learn a ton about how to produce a better show, make it sound better, do it more efficiently. I've got the student and the master tiers in there. It's a huge discount for my normal coaching and consulting rates, but there are monthly mix and edit critiques, so mix crits, call them, and AMAs, and one-on-one video calls and coaching sessions so that you can really get better and learn one-on-one from me. And hopefully in the future, others as well that I can also learn from. So I've got big plans for it, but starting out, it's still going to be a really, really fun and unique opportunity to get a lot better at podcasting and audio in general. So I hope to see you there. But catch me next week as I put the whole episode together and we talk about exporting and possibly listen to some examples of different sample rates, bit depths, and why I choose the settings that I do. So I'll see you next week. Subscribe, ring the bell. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.